How's it going, everybody? My name's Warner Fields from Fields of Profit, and today I'm joined by my friend Joe, who is one of our students from the FBA Roadmap and recently hit an amazing milestone for his business. I'll let him tell you what that milestone was, but we're here to have a conversation kind of about how he has scaled up his Amazon business, doing a lot of online arbitrage. I think you're dabbling with wholesale as well, so I'm excited to get into this conversation with him. But yeah, if you want to kind of quickly introduce yourself, let us know kind of your background, how you got into Amazon, we can go from there.
Yeah, my name's Joe, and actually, well, I'm 41 now, and I spent about 21 years actually in wholesale. So I'm coming from a wholesale background. I actually was a manager in my early 20s and late 20s of a wholesale company. It was a billion-dollar corporation, but I was manager of one location. And then I left there and I went to another wholesale company where I worked inside sales. I've been buying and selling stuff since, I was 18 years old, basically. So I came with a little bit of background. Last year, about a year and a half ago, I ended up leaving my job and I ran into a guy at a store and he started talking to me about Amazon. And I'm like, it seems so hard to just start. I mean, I knew about Amazon. I just getting ungated and stuff was the big mental barrier for me. I'm like, man, I just can't get ungated and all that stuff. And he's like, no, it's super easy. It's super easy. So he texted me a couple times back and forth. And I'm like, I don't know where to start. And he's like, hey, look up Warner on YouTube, start watching his videos. So I watched every single video.
That's impressive.
Start to finish. Yeah. And I just spent, it took a long time, a couple weeks of just watching and learned as much as I can. And I went to a store, started scanning stuff to learn, sent in my first item of some speakers from Walmart, and they sold 8 pairs for like $200 a piece. And I think I paid $100 or something on clearance for them. And I was so excited. I was messaging my friend, I got my first sale. And after that, I was like hooked. And then you came out with the roadmap course, like right when I was already kind of a month into it. And, I was deciding like, should I take the course? I've learned so much from them. And I was like, I'm just taking the course for one, to give back. And then two, I did like taking the course because when I took it, there was even more new information that you didn't share, on the videos that I watched. So from there, I picked up a couple more things. I got SellerAmp. I got into storefront stocking a little bit. I ended up getting a VA. So I did, in terms of like sales wise, I scaled like 10,000, 20,000, 40, 50, 60, and then I went to $110,000 a month, like last month.
Yep.
Yeah, I never thought that you could do this, like ever thought you could do that. I mean, the profit was around 20,000 in profit, plus break it in, plus cash back. And that's not even in there, and that's just bonuses, I was getting those checks and I was just giving them to my wife, the bonus rate injections.
Yes.
She was like, where is this coming from? This is awesome. So yeah, I scaled up from there. I actually ended up getting a VA back in, I think in June. So I watched your VA training guide and the FBA roadmap. And that's exactly what I did. I went to exactly how I said, online jobs and post ahead. I followed everything you said. I took another course too in the beginning, somebody else's course. It was also an excellent course. I kind of merged the two to what I was doing. And I think, if I advise for anybody, just learn as much as you can. I mean, don't be afraid to invest in yourself, to take courses, to just better yourself. Because what you've learned, what I've learned, what we've all learned is just, it's invaluable, and it'll break down a lot of those mental barriers people have to try to start.
Yeah, I appreciate the good feedback there. I promise I didn't pay for any of this. It's not staged. That's amazing to see that you're kind of like in January, just kind of trying to figure stuff out. And now it's over $20,000 a month. You got that cash back, all that good stuff. I was realizing the other day that I basically live off of the credit card points and the Rakuten checks alone. I'm sure you're probably getting pretty close. And so it's just an awesome byproduct of the business that's already profitable, right? But there's a lot of people watching this video who maybe they got 1 product or 5 products, or maybe they found 10, 20 products. They're kind of figuring it out, right? Right at the beginning, what was kind of that low-hanging fruit, kind of the easiest opportunity for you to find just those products to prove the concept, not necessarily the home run products? How were you finding those products?
I'll tell you what, right at the beginning, after I took the course, I remember even posting in the Discord group, I'm like, hey, I can't find anything. And I'm telling my other friend, I'm like, I don't know if I can figure this out, but man, just keep at it. Every day it snowballs. You get better and better and better. And everything you've learned, you just keep putting it to practice. It's going to pay dividends. I do a lot of Keepa, the data sourcing. I use that a ton. You just kind of visualize what like a perfect Keepa chart looks like what would you want to sell and what does that chart look like? And you can almost just put that into Keepa and just spit out a ton of ASINs to just start going sourcing through. And I mean, that's invaluable. I have a VA do that. I just give them what to put in there and have them go through, because there's a lot of just digging. I mean, just dig. And you'll end up finding super hot websites that way that you've never heard of, and just go on that rabbit trail. Just keep sourcing. I use SellerAmp. I'm not pushing anybody, but I literally use that thing every day, all day long. And one day it was down. I just did not know what to do. Like I have other software to use that I could use. It's so much easier, so much easier with it.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I like kind of what you're talking about with the virtual assistant there. A VA virtual assistant, if anyone's unfamiliar, we usually are hiring people from like the Philippines, Colombia, wherever. In this case, we typically have them source products for us. And when they're sourcing for you, like we probably probably don't necessarily need that. Like we have the know-how, we could go out and source products. Number one, it saves us time. That's the obvious easy benefit. But like you said, they're going to go out and find kind of new ideas for you. Like if you have people on your team and that's all they do is find products, I think that's a benefit a lot of people kind of sleep on. Is we have several sites that we're going to spend 10, 20,000 bucks on. I had no idea about those sites until VA started adding to my sheets. And so it really like expands your horizons even beyond saving your time. I'm just a really big fan of building those systems, having that VA team to help you out. And so I like that you kind of arrived there as well. They're kind of finding new strategies for you, right? Yes, that's amazing. What's kind of holding your business back right now? I guess it's silly to say holding it back since you're growing so fast, but just kind of curious, like what would you say? Is it capital? Is it, is it number of leads? Like what's holding you back?
I don't think capital is holding me back. It did a little bit in the beginning. It takes, one thing that I didn't realize just how long it takes to kind of get your money back, cash flow. That's like a huge, huge thing. You're just waiting. You want to hit the pay me now button on Amazon like constantly, but you try to avoid it. I mean, I do because I feel like every 2 weeks it'll just pay off even bigger, But I think the one thing holding me back to go up to maybe another level is just getting one more VA. I want to make sure, I mean, granted, yeah, I made a ton of money last month, but a lot of that money goes back into inventory to buy for next month. You kind of get, like you're on a boat, you're going through the water and you're waiting to plane it out, and once you plane that boat out, you're getting all that money coming in, but it takes a while to get on that plane to get that consistently making that 10, 5, 10, 15, $20,000 every month and without having to put it back constantly. But right now I am taking money out to live, obviously.
Yeah.
So I'm taking money out, it's fully supporting me, myself, full time doing it. But obviously you want to take out even more. So I think the key is I want to invest into another VA for one, to find more leads, but also as a buyer. So to buy my replants, it'll take some time off my hands. I don't know exactly when I'm going to do that, but it's soon, just when I get comfortable enough where I'm like, okay, I can jump up one more step, I will.
Yeah. Getting a buyer was a pretty big change for me. It's interesting. I think a lot of people kind of hit a wall around like 100 to 120 a month, like in that range. You may end up being there for 2 or 3 months until you do kind of figure out your systems a little further. I was there for like 4 months or so this year. And the biggest thing that helped me break out of that was training my manager to kind of do a little bit of the in-house work for me, and definitely having that buyer. Like it just frees up so much time. You don't think about it when you're at like the small scale. A lot of you guys at home, like you wish you could go swipe your credit card for hours, right? But when you have that problem and time, it becomes your bottleneck. Like it's like, oh my, I have to type in credit card numbers for 2 hours now. So then having the buyers, like it's a very nice asset there. So I do want to kind of get some value for those guys who are, trying to find their footing, right? Like talk to virtual assistants, that kind of stuff. Curious, when you were starting out, is there anything that you would have done differently to kind of get where you are faster, make more profit?
I know in the beginning, a lot of the guys are looking for like the super quick way to hurry up and jump on. And I kind of was to kind of get cash flow. But in the end, a lot of those listings, the quick way usually tanks, the best, easiest way. The best way that I found, I mean, I have a few ways that I do it, kind of proprietary ways, but the best way that I found that, I could basically give away is don't sleep on like the really good websites. I mean, stocking, a lot of people do storefront stocking, which is just fine. I mean, it's very valuable. I mean, you can find some incredible leads. Some of my best ASINs have come from there too. But my absolute best ASINs came from just going right to websites that you found, not just Walmart, not just the smaller, the mom and pop ones, the ones that are willing to work with you and not cancel your orders. The best advice I have is just dig. I mean, I do have a little bit of advice. I mean, I do a fair amount of Amazon to Amazon flips, actually a really, really good amount of those. And I actually use Smart Scout to do that. I don't know if you ever heard of Scout.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, Scott's software. And I kind of use it in a different way. I wouldn't say that they'd be good to flip, but there's a way to search in Smart Scout. I probably have to show you, but you can basically spit out ASINs that are highly profitable to do a flip, an Amazon flip. That means buy from Amazon on one listing. They'll go out of stock pretty quickly and then sell it back to them, quickly. So, I mean, I did that this summer with a lot of back to school stuff and did really good doing that. So that was just like one little gem that I do.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've been kind of wanting to play around with Amazon to Amazon a little more. I did that kind of seasonally with toys and stuff, but never with anything outside of toys. And I know I've heard a lot of people find there's a little bit more profit there because it is harder and higher risk if you don't know what you're doing. So I'm sure that's going to be a great competitive advantage. Really difficult to figure out for those new guys. I mean, I probably need to jump on a little bit of that myself too. Amazon to Amazon's fun when I've done it in the past. It feels like you're like cheating the system.
I know. I'm getting these huge boxes. I mean, just huge. And I can't believe they sell to me at that type of quantity that I'm buying. And I'm buying all this stuff and then I'm just turning it right back around and send it into. I mean, it is a lot. It's not for everybody. There is risk in there, but you can calculate your risk. Obviously, we've got keeper charts. We can see how long they're in stock for. They're coming in, they're coming out, and it's just bouncing. The price is bouncing all over the place. That's a good indicator to get in.
Yeah. You see those listings all the time. And those are also great listings to jump on just doing regular OA. If you see Amazon consistently going in and out of stock, because Amazon, they drive a whole bunch of reviews and then customers still want to buy that. So using the same exact principles, I've done that with some lotions and stuff in the past. Like there's a bunch of items that look like that. And those are the items where competing with Amazon can be super lucrative, right? Because you're not really competing with Amazon. They're kind of just helping you drive more sales for you. Yeah. So just to kind of start wrapping us up here, what's your long-term vision for the business? Do you want to go private label? You want to scale this super high? Like what's your end game here?
I think I'm comfortable actually where I'm at in terms of I want to keep my work-life balance. So I don't need to scale to the moon. I do want to scale a little bit more to buy my time back, basically. And that's it. I don't need any more money. I don't even need half of what I'm making. So just buying my time back would be something I want to do. But it's hard in the beginning. I'm only 6 months in and there's a lot going on, systems that I'm putting in place, and I got to work. I'm doing my own prep still. Well, I've got a helper to do it. Yeah, that's a huge thing. I don't even know how I do it, but I got a helper with it. Okay. And so I'm actually going to be still doing it, but I'm going to hire a full-time person to do all the prep, just like having a prep center, but at my house. And so I figure I'd save like $40 an hour doing that over a prep center.
Are you in a sales tax free state?
No.
Okay. So that's going to be the other thing that might bite you. So if you ever start buying like expensive stuff, you could probably do like a combo model. I do that. Like any of my tax exempt stuff, I still ship to my old house. My sister does a lot of that work for me. And then our expensive stuff goes to sales tax free state. So you might consider doing something similar because a lot of times you pay $1 for prep, but you're saving $4 in sales tax. So it works out pretty nicely there.
With that, my question is, aren't you really paying that tax anyways at the end of the year? So if I bring it in here and I'm paying $6 for the sales tax on $100, that's basically a write-off at the end of the year. So I'm basically giving the money to the government for a year and then I'm getting it back, at the end of the year. Because when I go to my accountant, I'll say, hey, I paid taxes on this already. He's going to say, oh yeah, write that off. So either way, you're still exempt,
Yeah, I guess you just get taxed on it. But
the other thing, you're just giving the money. If you have cash flow problems, that's an extra 6%. You're cash flowing now versus the end of the year when you get it back.
Yeah. I mean, I think it still makes more sense to ship to sales tax free, but you're right. You do get extra deductions. And if that's what you're comfortable with, and
yeah, I don't know. I was like thinking to myself, I'm like, I don't know if I need, because there's a really good prep center in Michigan. And I was talking to him and the only thing was like, oh, I got to pay the 6. I'd rather not pay the 6%. And I got to talking to him and I'm like, well, wait a second. I think I get that back at the end of the year if I pay it ahead of time anyways, but it's all cash flow deal.
Yeah. And sometimes it can be worth it. Like, especially if you're doing it in-house, like that's going to give you an element of control. And it's also going to allow you to implement a lot more merchant fulfilling. If you're going to do that in-house where you're paying sales tax, definitely take advantage of that because you're going to have a leg up on people who are just doing straight to the prep. Because, if you're going to provide extra work for yourself, you might as well use that competitive advantage there.
I will give anybody, I don't know if you're into wholesale a little bit, but I'll give you a tip on wholesale since I spent my whole life in wholesale. When you call these wholesalers, typically you get me on the other line, an inside sales guy, you're trying to set up an account and stuff, but typically don't say that you're the owner. Usually the owners rarely ever call you. I mean, I spent 20 years inside and you never really hear from the owners. What you hear is from the purchasing agent. So not just Warner Field, the owner, I'm Warner Field in purchasing. So which you're in purchasing. That to me, it's more of it's not a cover, but you get somebody like, why is the owner calling? They must be a pretty small company if the owner's calling me,
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good little nugget for the wholesale guys here at the end of the video.
Yeah.
I have to start thinking about that too.
Yeah. And one more is if if you're having roadblocks calling these wholesalers, just call them back and get somebody different or call them back a different day and ask for their outside sales guy, because the inside sales guys, they don't really care whether, they land your account or they do business with you or not. But the outside sales guys who get paid off the account, they get the commission off the account. Typically, they'll bend the rules a little more for you and they'll compete with even their other locations. So if you call one in Michigan, they won't deal with you. You call their other branch in another state. Well, they will, because they want to snipe that business off the other sales guys. So the sales guys, it's a whole competitive nature on these sales guys, and they're more willing to work with you. So I guess those are little tips. I can offer wholesale tips for you, a little bit more with expertise, than I can with this stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, for those of you guys who stuck around here, that's some sauce for the wholesale. Let me know below if I need to get him back so we can talk wholesale strategy a little bit. People want to go find you, learn more about you. You did just start a YouTube channel. Where can they find you?
Yeah, I made my first video. It's at The Way FBA. Appreciate that.
Right down below in the description.
Same with Instagram, same with everything else. So
awesome. Yeah. So if you guys got some value out of our interview, definitely go ahead and subscribe to his channels over there. If you want to check out the FBA roadmap, one of the guides that Joe used to help scale his business, a ton of other success stories, that link's down below as well. Any last minute words for the people?
Man, just stay with it. Don't get discouraged. It's going to take time. I was posting in the groups that I was getting discouraged, and a few months later, I'm doing 6 $60,000, $100,000 month. So, and I'll probably do the same this month. So it takes time. Don't put a time frame on it. So some people take longer than others, and some people get it right away.
That's awesome. Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time. It was definitely one of my favorite interviews I've done. So I appreciate you taking the time. If you guys want to hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff helps me out with the algorithm. Let me know if you guys have any questions about anything we mentioned during the video. Always happy to answer those as well. But I really appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you next time.